Hey everyone, how's it going?
Good morning, everybody. It's good to be here. How you doing, Christy?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing all right. No work today. Today's Juneteenth in the United States. So my place shuts down, federal holiday. I think a lot of places do.
Oh, is it some holiday today?
Yeah, it's the emancipation of recognition of the emancipation of slaves in Galveston, Texas in 1865. So,
All
yeah.
right.
So they recognize that here in the U.S. as a federal holiday, and everybody gets the 19th off for recognition of it.
All right. So, yeah. Uh,
How's it been, Kushti? How's your week been? You been busy?
yeah, busy, and today is also busy, and I think there will be final 6.0 release today, finally. So, yeah, just
Nice.
checking some things, and yeah, I think it will be released today along with instructions for the mining pools on how to vote because, yeah, I guess since 2022, probably every mining pool has forgotten, right, how to vote. Because yeah, well, the latest soft fork was in 2022. In 2023, they were only very major, but client side only updates such as support for PoW bootstrapping and bootstrapping with UTXO set snapshot, right? And then, since 2024, there was work on 6.0, and then, on subblock slowly. So now we are going to roll out 6.0 soft fork update, voting for it, and then subblocks, there will be another devnet release, call for testing devnet probably next week, but let's see. So I'm currently even doing some load testing locally, and there are some inefficiencies found, as well as some probably bugs to discover and so on. So, but
Christy,
yeah, well,
how do we know? How do we know the difference in releases between one running on Rocks and one running on the other database, so that we don't mess it up when we update?
yeah, so there will be two 6.0 releases, 6.0, 6.1 probably. But yeah, well, there was 5.0.27 release yesterday as well, and 5.1.4 I believe is postponed a bit, so I need to get opinion. So in the latest RocksDB release, there was update from RocksDB dependency version 8 to version 9, and there were some complaints. So now it would be good to discuss whether we roll back to version 8 or updating it further to version 10.
So your point one releases are the Rocks database. Your point zero releases are the old database.
Level DB, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, the original DB. Actually, not the original, but yeah, well, the very original database was own key-value database called IODB, made in IOHK. Then we switched to level DB because that guy was not very stable in maintaining IODB. Quite famous guy, but yeah, also quite unstable in regards with maintaining his products such as MapDB, IODB. So level DB, and so still we are on level DB since 2019. and yeah, well, as support for level DB is also not quite good, right? So we are still using drivers from 2018. So yeah, well, after all, yeah, we started gradual switch to RocksDB, which is at least well maintained, right, at the moment. Yeah. Well, 5.0 is about LevelDB, 5.1 is about RocksDB, but then, yeah, well, unfortunately, less platforms supported and at the moment. Yeah, well, there are also some complaints, well, about the latest version introduced update to newer version of RocksDB, but we have even newer version. So, yeah, well, some testing is needed in regards with that, but yes, 6.0 will be released for LevelDB. So to the best of my knowledge, all the mining pools are on LevelDB version, at least mining pools I'm in touch with. Yeah, well, we are going to release 6.0 in the first place. Something like that. So yeah, it's the whole zoo of different versions. So hopefully after 6.0 we can do something with that. Let's see.
Cool. Looking forward to it. We have a modified node for SIG's mining pool, so we'll have to be on top of that to make sure that that gets modified, the new one.
Oh, so is it 5.1?
No, we're on 5.0 something, 5.018 or 5.019, something like that.
Oh,
for the SIG's mining pool, maybe even 5.020.
Yeah, in the first place, it would be good to update to 5.026, like some mining pools already did, which is introducing periodic regeneration of block candidate, which is providing quicker confirmations.
Oh, great. That's a good point. Yeah. We'll get on Cheese, see if you can update the 6.0 to...
then, yeah, so 6.0 is 5.026 based after all. So yeah, a lot of things like that. Yeah, well, about 1 week ago, well, Sigma Chain's refactoring plan was published, and yeah, it's also on the table. So currently investigating and discussing with people. Well, had a talk with Bruno, for example, just 1 hour ago about Zephyr and so on. Zephyr is jet-based, somewhat private stablecoin. Actually, just fork of Monero with jet implemented in client code. But yeah, so we discussed, and yeah, it seems it's possible to do more interesting things and so on. But yeah, well, from following that plan published, I think, well, matched mine sidechains probably is low-hanging fruit, right? And well, we can propose actually a lot of designs more interesting than Zephyr and so on. To the different to the world, right? To the different teams, and then yeah, well, maybe some will be implemented by how to call it. The developers we know, right? Like in inner circle, or well, community, Ergo community, let's say. And then, yeah, well, also discussing, yeah, then different funding options, right, for implementing such things and so on. So let's see. There is also anniversary coming. Are you going to do any video for it?
Yep. We've got Dan and at least Dan and I reached out to Pixel as well to do some videos. So Andy's got a big list that he went through. I believe Angie and him curated it. And we were looking through it last week to figure out what we could do and what we could refresh. So, yep, there'll be some things coming out soon. It'll be good. Some new content, I guess you could say. Yeah, don't we need to give Yuri some ergs for a cake, Kushti? Isn't that tradition?
Sorry, cake?
Don't we need to give Yuri some ergs for cake? No, it's not Yuri. It's who's the guy that we give money to for a cake in Gulag?
Oh, that's Rero.
Yeah, Rero. Don't we need to give Rero money for cake? He usually gets a cake if we give him some ergs, and then sends us pictures. We got to remember to do that. He celebrates it every year that I remember with cake, so we'll make sure to do that. Maybe a hop on Gulag in a little bit and send him some ergs. Nice. Yeah, so that's going to be great. A lot of video content that you should be seeing up on YouTube. I don't think... When's the anniversary exactly, Kushti? What day?
July 1st, yeah.
July 1st. So that is June, July. That's 2 days before our AMA, so maybe we move the AMA to the 1st and kick it off, Kushti.
Possible, yeah.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, kick off the video sequences with a live AMA on the 1st, and then let the videos run the rest of the day on release. That might be a good idea. Cool, great. Yeah. What else? We've been talked to Glasgow. All the details have been sent to the listing. So congratulations on everybody for fundraising at the raffle for the US on-ramp. That's going to be great. Except for 3 states, unfortunately, in New York. I'll have to enter someplace else, but that's fine. So all the details have been sent there. The agent that they're working with has said it takes a few weeks to bring back the finalized contract from there. So we should be seeing it soon. I'm hoping maybe near the end of July, we'll see that on-ramp fully functional where people can hop in. And not only am I excited about that on-ramp, I'm excited that there's potential to integrate that puppy into things. So, I mean, how cool would it be to on-ramp right from Nautilus or on-ramp right from Frozen Bridge in there? That's really what I'm excited about. You know, ease of use for people, as opposed to going to their interface. What else we have? Yeah, last weekend was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody that is a father. So I didn't show up to the SIGS meeting. I was spending time with the family. So we did not finalize the schedule for the Ergo meetup, but that should be done this Sunday. We'll finalize that puppy, and we'll pump it out there along with the 2 more sign-up links, the GitHub sign-up link and the Google Forms sign-up link, so you guys can sign up and come. But as I said the weeks before, we are doing we're going to try to live stream as much as we can to involve the people that can't be there, right? So we're going to live stream all the talks. We're going to live stream the hackathon. We're going to try to involve the people, allow groups outside of the place to that are streaming to participate in the hackathon as well. So we'll have 2 groups in person, one of the AI coders, one of the core dev coders or the original coders, and then we'll have 2 groups online, which are the AI coders and another group of manual original coders. So that'll be good to involve that. It'll be a whole production. We can't live stream you dinner, so we're really sorry about that. I guess we could, but it wouldn't be too tasty. So stay tuned for that. That'll be a good event as well, that everybody can watch from the comforts of your couch if you're not going to make the way over to sunny Colorado. Always sunny, sometimes Colorado. Isn't that what Charles says all the time? Something like that. Yeah, so that'll be fun. What else? Frozen Bridge is nearing their Doge integration. They got through some tough stuff that was taking them a while to figure out. So that should be imminent for those of you watching that. Guards are locked and ready to update and push that through. So if you're a watcher, please stay tuned to that. Any updates that are needed, please do that periodically. And let me remind everybody running watchers or guards, it's not... it's a good idea to check in on it once in a while. I try to check in once a week when I fix my USD Oracle. I try to check on my watcher and my guard to make sure that it's running. And as a safety, I usually bounce it because there have been some times when I'm running the watcher, I'm running the guard, where the health looks okay, the health looks fine, but then I bounce it, and all of a sudden one of my chains is 100 or 200 or 300 blocks, maybe even 1,000 blocks out of sync. Way more blocks than it took to bounce the thing. So it's perfectly healthy. Just bounce your guard once in a while, bounce your watcher once in a while, just on the safe side. Set your alarm. If you plant something outside to grow, you don't just leave it and forget it, right? You got to put a little water on it, that kind of stuff. So give it some TLC, and you'll make sure to get all the transactions you can instead of missing them with an out of sync watcher. What else we got, Kushti?
Actually, just some thoughts. It's quite amazing how wipe coding on Ergo is been developing, right? So, yeah, it seems like crazy quick progress. So, I'm not quite following even all the possibilities here, but yeah, it's quite amazing. So I think Ergo is actually quite friendly, right, to AI.
Extremely friendly. The endpoints make it so easy, and the tools, like even with the Python integration, just writing a quick AI thing to integrate with that, it's crazy easy.
Yeah, and also Ergo script, I think, well, and the approach, right? So yeah, it should be very LLM friendly. Then yeah, so for Rosen, yeah, well, I asked Joe directly, like yesterday, maybe even 2 days ago, about Zano and Kaspa. So yeah, it seems they're in touch, right? But yeah, well, it depends on the teams how quickly integrations will be done. But yeah, let's see. So it's up to them.
Kaspa just launched a mixer last week. Did you see that, Kushti?
No, no, not quite. But yeah, it seems it's like Bitcoin like CoinJoin, right? Approach.
The mixer?
The mixer, right? So
yeah, it's not really it's hosted essentially. Yeah, it's hosted on their end. So I wonder how that's going to work. And they have what I read while I was reading through the thing you have to agree to before you mix, and one of the lines was we cannot guarantee privacy or tracking of that kind of thing. So we can't guarantee your anonymity. Something like so. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe they'll work on it and figure it out and figure out how to make a non-custodial self-download one like Ergo has. That kind of stuff is given, but it's a good start.
But actually, yeah, so they cannot, I think, in the first place, because for CoinJoin, like mixers, so, well, the biggest issue is networking layer, right? So there is some service you need to work with, right, in order to coordinate mixing efforts with other participants.
I gotcha.
And yeah, usually, what surveillance is doing, like specific agencies and so on. So they're tracking interactions with those services specifically, right? And it's not something which could be avoided by the services, right? So they don't control networking layer. So yeah, well, in case of working with our Ergo node, Monero node, right? So Zcash and so on. It's quite different. So yeah, well, in Ergo it's servers, but you are working with some node, right? But your own node, and then yeah, it's more controllable at least. Could be made better, but yeah, I mean, in Monero, actually, it seems based on available information, it's also kind of the weakest part of security chain, right? So the networking layer. So if you're working with So especially if you are using Tor along with Monero, right? So well, it seems certain agencies are trying to connect interactions with Tor with transactions on Monero based on some incidents which took place in EU, for example. Then maybe it's better to avoid using Tor even, right? But then, if you are going to somehow make private communication on your own, and it's very tricky, especially without knowledge, right? Even with it. Privacy guarantees is very tricky point, actually. Even if there are some on-chain guarantees, then it's not just about that.
True. Very true.
And about those services. I don't have any information about Casper, but for Bitcoin, those services were under close surveillance even back in early 2020. So I had some talks about that with some research labs doing this, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways. Sorry, go for it.
So tracking activities and doing linking on-chain transactions with off-chain activities like communication with state service. Yeah.
Huh. Oh boy. It sounds like it's always it's always a struggle to attain that perfectly. I mean, even with a perfectly designed system, with a base knowledgeable user, you're still at risk of exposing yourself if you're not careful. Even no matter how perfect something like Ergo Mixer is, or other things. But
if you're working with your own nodes and mixer and
for sure. But I'm talking about the simple things as far as like cross-pollinating a clean wallet or something stupid like that, like how the bro chain guy was caught with the NFTs mixing his funds. He just made a stupid mistake, pollinated a wallet the wrong way, and then it's over. Just user error, nothing to do with the mixer, really, just screwed it up. So I think there's plenty of ways to expose yourself, even with a pretty solid system.
And in using your then it's two connections, like one or two nodes and something, but need for that. I mean, the point is, if you're having a lot of options, then it's possible to obtain info which started broke certain according to some. So that's better to avoid think just by a transaction. And then they will start think in case of
Christy, you're breaking up a little bit. You want to switch internet connections? You hear me? Let's see. Yep. Hopefully he switches internet connections. Andy is still there? We're still live? Yeah. Okay. All right. So while Kushti gets his internet connection fixed, let's see if we can hit some questions in the meantime. Let's see if there are non-Kushti questions here. Oh yeah, well, what Christy was saying as well when I was breaking up and what we were talking about is, no matter how fit the protocol is, there's still user methods that can expose you on mixers, right? And he was speaking of the type of mixers that. Oh, there he's gone. Let's see if Andy fixes me. There we go. We'll bend down like this. And even if there are, pretty fit mixers like the Ergo mixer, where it hosts on your own machine, you send the stuff out through your own node. There are still ways, not protocol based, that can expose you. And there have been examples that already on the chain of people trying to hide themselves and messing up, not mixer related, but based on that they just were sloppy in doing it and didn't really understand what the function of a mixer works or how it works. So there's that kind of stuff you got to be careful with as well. Let's see. We have somebody asked about the where'd it go? Most Body Max Fitness. We talked about this earlier when we started Body Max. I talked to Glasgow. It should be about a few weeks. They have all the information, and they're sending back the contract soon, and that should be signed and good. So I'd give it. I can set up again. Great. I'd give it a few weeks. I was hoping probably the end of July we should see something like that come forward. So looking forward to that. What else do we have? Do you guys like my visualizer in the back? This was a quick AI coding thing. It shows the mempool. You can click on a thing and it shows you the actual transaction. Orange are peer-to-peer transactions. Yellow are gold Oracle transactions. You can see all the GORT there. It's just something cool that I have up during the day so I can see how busy the Ergo chain is in the matrix style. The green's supposed to represent hash, and I hope to actually connect it to the SIGs mining pool so we can actually get a reading of those outputs and do that. All right, moving on. Let's see what else we have. We have Body Max Fitness. Looks like he's upset. We'll come back to that stuff. Any news on the launch of Sigma Quest? I believe is that thing Timur made, the game? I don't have any update on that. I think he was working on patching a hole before release. So last time I knew he was still working on that to patch it. That is one of the issues with, I will say, I noticed with AI coding, when you're doing pure AI coding, it takes a lot longer to fix something that AI codes than it does if you wrote it yourself. I use AI a bit at work to program my Perl scripts, to build some, and I know it takes time to build it from scratch, but if I go back to something that I didn't build and I'm looking at it and trying to fix it for an error or a bug or anything like that, it takes me a considerable amount of time to figure out exactly what the hell is going on. So I imagine that's something similar that Timur is going through right now, depending on his coding skill, with looking at that and trying to fix something that somebody else built, especially when it was vibe coded, that kind of stuff. So yeah. Kushti, welcome back. You switch internet connections?
Not yet. I don't know.
You seem to be pretty good right now, but I see your eyes. Maybe I'll switch over my eyes too until Andy fixes us. Let's see, Kushti. Here, let me join you in the eye broadcast. Here we go. There we go, Kushti. Now we're twinsies. Now it looks intentional. Perfect. All right, Kushti, we got some questions. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here's the one from Luke Graysmith. It's getting very, very out of the blockchain. Ready? What subject did you all like best when you were in school, and what subject do you like best to do with your free time now if you want to learn something? You first, Kushti.
Oh, but I don't have free time. So usually, yeah, I mean, when having free time, would be happy to actually catch with some stuff in cryptography. So a lot of things going on. And for some topics, I'm out of state of art.
What about when you went to school back in the day, Kushti, when you were a youngin'?
Well, mathematics, physics, something like that.
All right. Oh, there we go. Andy's awake. Andy's fixing us. Thank you, Andy. Let me fix me as well. Sorry, 1 second. Center me up here. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right, my favorite subject in school. I don't, yeah, I was a music student in school, so that always came naturally. That was my favorite subject, and then I started dabbling in Java programming, which also came easily. So that was a lot of fun. Just able to kind of hyper focus on that stuff. So I'd say those two, and music history was fun as well. We used to do fun drop needle tests on every single piece of music that's ever been written, all the way from Gregorian chants up to the Renaissance or even probably the late 1800s, early 1900s. So those were fun drop needle tests where you just sit there and you drop a needle on a random record and you'd get points whoever guessed the composer or the era of it. I think you had to guess both at the same time. Well, I guess if you say the composer, you know the era, but yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Now in my free time, how do I like to learn? I come from the school of bash your head against it until you get it, right? I have a small patience for reading things thoroughly. So if there's documentation on something, I'll try my best to skim through it before my attention just starts going off to the wayside and just losing interest. So I'll do my best to try to read up it to get a general idea of it, and then I'll try to utilize it and beat my head against it until I figure it out. So that seems to be my method of learning throughout life, and it seems to be all right. I notice that it does leave holes in my knowledge, so while I will be able to do something and seem somewhat masterful in something that I do, it still leaves pretty big holes in there, kind of thing. So that is one of the weaknesses of it, but it's a method that seems to work so far for what I'm doing. Yeah, good question, Luke. Non-blockchain related, I like it. All right, let's see what else we have. Bibus asks, any updates on Kraken listing for Rosenberg? Has voting finished? Yeah, let me tell you about this, buddy. I have, what's it called? Let me see. Can I bring this up on the screen? I think I can. Let's see. Can you guys see? Let me move myself for 1 second. I can remove myself with this fancy stuff. There you go. Look at that, folks. 0 comments. I invited the community last week to come comment on this stuff. Right now, the only person that's commented is in the lower left right here, right there. It's been Cannon, who's a Sigmanaut, right? So he has vested interest because he's part of the, he's Sigmanaut and the Sigmanauts have a guard set. But my goodness, people, I invited the community to comment on that stuff and nobody's commented it. So it's interesting where I see people show interest in chats and show interest right now in, the AMA. I'm not dissing you, Bibus, not at all. I'm just saying in general. Please take that interest and take it off chats and take it to the actual Padilla and comment on the thing. Even if it's like, this looks great, let's go. That's much better than seeing 0 comments on the thing. Then we know, okay, we've got 30 people that said, great, let's go. Then we'll turn it into a vote and we'll push it. You know what I mean? Engage, please, guys. We can't rely on other people to engage for us. Even if something looks good and you agree to it, don't rely on that. Don't be passive. Be active, please. Great. Thanks for bringing that up, Bibus. All right. Oh, here's a good one from Luca Kushti. Chinese stablecoin. Do you think it'd be worth creating an RMB stablecoin?
Maybe, I don't know. So, what's the demand? But yeah, I guess it could be some, right?
I mean, do you think? I mean, there's some nationalistic aspect there, right? Where Chinese citizens might be more apt to convert to a Chinese stablecoin as opposed to a U.S. dollar stablecoin. No.
I don't know, but usually RMB to the best of my knowledge is tied to USD anyway, right? But so sometimes the rate is changed. But over the years, it's from my observations, it's anyway around 6 or 7 CNY to USD. 6 to 8 probably, but I don't know. So it maybe makes sense if it will be more independent, right? So
well, how do you feel about the latest craze, Kushti? It seems like the latest craze is corporations creating their own stable coins lately, and I imagine that's gonna either fizzle out or go full steam ahead for the remainder of this market kind of thing. What are your thoughts about having an Amazon stablecoin or a Walmart stablecoin or something like that?
That's a bit expected, right? To me at least. So, as I said in regards with chain cash, not once even. We are back to free banking era, right? In one way or another. So this also quite following the trend.
I don't know. I guess free banking in the sense that anybody can do it, but I think engaging in something like the Walmart stablecoin or the Amazon stablecoin, I don't think there's anything free about that, man. I imagine there will be some serious guardrails and restrictions on some of that stuff.
Yeah, but that's the first step, right? So, it was started by Tether, right? But if Tether is doing billions on stable coins, then you can expect.
That's true. That is true. It's a tasty fruit hanging there.
Literally every corporation chasing billions as well, right? Because that's that's how it works. In regards with Chinese stable coins, I think Chinese corporations also will jump on the board, especially considering how developed fintech there, right, with Alipay and other companies. So actually a lot of big fintech corporations now there, and they're also expanding, I believe, to Southeast Asia at least, and so on. So. Africa also. So probably makes a lot of sense, and especially when they see Tether doing billions, then it's quite natural to chase this path.
That's true. All right, we've got Bybus again with a good question. Kushti, giving you a good runway here. Can we expect sublocks to be fully deployed by the end of this year? That's 6 months away, Kushti. What's your thought?
Probably.
That's good. Probably. That's a good answer. Good enough, Kushti. Let's move on.
Yes. So I think we can start injecting sublocks supporting nodes to the public testnet around somewhat July even. But awesome. Then, a lot of things to take care about, so some weeks and months it will take, and actually, it makes sense to activate sublocks after 6.0 activation, right? But can be done before, maybe even with, but. No, not sure about that. So probably after 6.0 activation. So if we will start voting on July 1st, for example, then activation will take place on October 1st. But then, in somewhat October even, we can do mainnet activation. Let's see.
Awesome. All right. follow-up question. Any updates when Rosen going live with Doge? I think I spoke with that earlier when we first started. Update from Joe is work in progress. Should be soon, hopefully. So we're getting there. We are getting there. What did ERG price drop? All right, what else do we have? We got some semi-spam here. Frustrations being expressed. Oh, how are bricks going from Ursa Minor? Kids are gone. Students are gone for the summer. We have high school students here. So we have a program where there's high school students that come here, about 80 of them in our program, and they spend time on like a 10-week, 12-week architecture program. And there are also some other small classes that take place in the summer, like the master students come to a facility in New York City. So those guys will be getting bricks soon. But I'm not going to give the high school students bricks. I mean, I guess that'd be interesting, but they don't plot, unfortunately. So there'd be no real point to giving them brick. But we'll see. Every year they kind of enhance what the what's it called? What the high school students are doing. So when the first time they came, like years ago, they never even used computers. It was all like hand drawing and that kind of thing. Now they're using laptops and they're using Rhinoceros and AutoCAD and those kind of things, and printing some things, usually tiling. So it wouldn't be out of the world to have them start plotting big time. So if that happens, potentially we will hand them brick and ask for the department to pay for it, essentially. So give us funds. Here's the brick. Students can print via the blockchain since they don't have a Bursar account. So actually, brick's a perfect thing for that kind of transaction. So we'll see. We'll see in the summertime. But yeah, we're gearing up. We've changed our rules a little bit for next semester for how brick are handed out. And we'll hit it full force when it comes in. Mark the Shark says QX doesn't read my messages. Oh, did he send me a message? Let me see. I wonder what I am bad at reading messages.
How many unread messages you have?
So many, Kushti.
Yes, so sometimes, yeah, I'm finding some messages from like weeks ago.
Yeah, whoops. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what you're commenting. Maybe you're commenting on the vibe coding stuff. Maybe that Mark's big thing with vibe coding is context. You have to give the vibe code, you have to give the LLM context about what you're doing, how to do it. And he says it does worlds better, right? It's night and day difference between vibe coding with no context and vibe coding with context. So be like Mark, give your LLM context, and you'll be very happy. Oh yeah, he's commenting that I don't read documentation. Yeah, I don't. Sorry, buddy. QX show is the mempool visualizer, sir. Show us. I did. Didn't I show you guys? It's right here. Kushti, did I show you? Here, I'll show it again for people that joined late real quick. Let me hide myself. One sec. Insta. Let me take a screen capture. Let me make it smaller so it can actually be seen fully on screen. There we go. So let's see. Oh, as soon as I do it, the mempool clears up. We'll put it back on until we get some hits with some mempools coming up. But let me know when that happens. All right, what else do we have? Oh, here we go. Yeah, Ursa Minor. This is a topic that was had in chat the other day. Kushti, can you talk about the concept of a private DEX? Can this help with avoiding something like a sandwich bot or snipers?
But I mean, it depends on how you define private here. So
how would you do that? Would you whitelist addresses to work with a smart contract, essentially? So
you can whitelist, for them off-chain batchers, right? And so send them encrypted requests, for example, right? And then they can do something. But yeah, so there was some design of private perpetuals DEX proposed recently, but yeah, this is about actually some centralized server, providing some proof of something, but yeah, this server is actually controlling, so actually doing sniping and MEV and whatever, right? So, well, at least now such things are transparent, but so trackable. But yeah, it's easy to introduce something centralized, but yeah, quasi private, and then yeah, well, a certain entity will do that, right? Only
Right.
without even being traced. So the devil is in detail. So how privacy is defined exactly, right? So definitions are quite subtle.
So, Krishi,
Yeah.
how is a sandwich bot successful on a UTXO chain? And especially with block time of 2 minutes on Ergo. So I guess you hit the slippage, or I mean, it's not like you can pack something before and in the same transaction, right? Like, how do sandwich bots work successfully? I thought they were much more difficult to do.
Not the same, but you can do so if slippage is allowing, you can do separate transactions, right? And put a little bit higher fee. So it's not quite different here, right? With AMM, then there are different things you can do, but yeah, they also probably are not quite different here, right? So for private DEXs, then for most of efficient designs, right? So you're just tying to some batchers and sending them encrypted requests. But then what? They can do some commitments, right? And so need to think actually how it could work, but yes, something is possible when you fix batchers. But then the question is, do you really want such a design?
Okay.
Hard to say. I mean, it's about different trade-offs.
Yep.
So if it's about I don't know the truly decentralized setting, then the question is, what kind of privacy are you trying to achieve here? I mean, privacy from home and privacy what? So if it's about privacy of your actions, then I mean, how are they clear? How are they executed even?
Okay. So currently the way for the community to avoid these sandwich attacks, if they're happening, is to set your slippage just to a low amount, and that'll just your transaction will fail. But is that the key?
Right, but actually, you can set slippage, or you can avoid proxy contracts, right? Like Crystal Pool is doing, for example. In Dexy, for example, the current Dex interface for Dexy, which is a part of Crystal Pool. There is no proxy, right? And then, there is no sandwiching possible, right? It's not possible to insert any order before. But then, you can have transactions failed, but without on-chain footprint, unlike EVM blockchains.
Right. You're not losing any funds.
So the current design with proxies is maybe not very ergo-oriented, right? So maybe direct execution is better. There are some discussions in the chats about that. But even if you are doing proxy, for example, you can set software can set slippage to avoid any order appearing before you, right? Going in the same direction. So you can allow only for orders going in opposite direction, for example. Then I mean, still there is chance of failure. Maybe direct execution is better. Just so and even so you can have more sophisticated software maybe which can retry right attempts, but use direct execution. And then yeah, for sandwiches it would be quite hard environment still, I believe.
All right, what else we got? Mark wants to know if we have an EIP for creating side merge chains. Would that be a good way to codify the process for others to follow? Any plans?
Sorry?
Is there an EIP for side chains for merged mine chains? And if not, is that something that can be done so other people can try to follow this and help?
Yeah, so there is only a document on how to do merged mine sidechain from ERGOHACK 8, maybe. Yeah, it was 8, I believe. So yeah, from autumn 2000 to 2023. Yeah, well, but can do some more detailed document, and yeah, if there are some guys with ideas on matched mine sidechains would be happy to cooperate with, and yeah, well, expand the document. But yeah, please refer to ERGOHACK 8 submission in the first place. And yeah, it was about merged mine sidechains and also yeah, trustless pegging for such case. So yeah, in this case, it's possible to do two-way trustless peg. It seems, which is quite great, right? So something which is not possible in Bitcoin still.
All right, we got one maybe that Bruno could answer. How do algorithmic stablecoins fit into the ecosystem with the major fiat-backed stablecoins? Would BRICS, BRICS be interested in Gluon or DEXI? The BRICS group, which is what? That's the BRICS is a group of nations exploring stablecoin development. So has Bruno ever thought to not just develop protocols, but actually to do outreaches and try to engage those kind of things at that level?
Bruno, yeah,
I know he said the other day that, somebody asked him, how come you're not making a front end for this? And he says, my forte is just designing this and doing that, the base of it, and then somebody else can make the front end of it. So I imagine perhaps outreach and front facing and engagement might not be his wheelhouse either for this kind of stuff.
Right, but usually, anyway, so big players are interested in centralized stable coins, right? Which maybe makes sense, but also due to capital inefficiency, right, of solid algorithmic stable coins, which survived over time, right? But then you can use such stable coins in conjunction with centralized stable coins. So do something like chain cash, right? So have multiple issuers backing in different ways. Even Tether, along with Amazon and Google, right? You can imagine them as just different issuers in chain cash, along with smaller players, right? Even individuals. So in this regard, yeah, chain cash is kind of a great equalizer. And then, algorithmic stable coins also can be used there for some, settlements, right? Some buffer, right? Which you maybe don't need 4 usually. So you need for smaller amounts. But yeah, it's better to have less trust also, more guarantees, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, we got one more, Kushti. This is a very difficult question. Might take you a little while to answer. What's your favorite fruit?
Favorite fruit? What? Really?
Yeah, Ursa wants to know your favorite fruit. Maybe wants to send you a fruit basket, Kushti. Do you eat, Kushti? How often do you eat? Once a week?
No, like...
Do you have time to eat?
Yeah, but about fruits, I don't know. Maybe mango, but if
nice. Good call.
good enough.
Yeah, mango's great.
Peach, yeah.
Similar. I'm a fan of
something like that.
In the U.S. we call them limes, but in South America they're just lemons. The green lemon. Those are amazing.
Yeah.
Limes. So good. Yeah. All right, that's a good way to end it on a positive note.
But I don't know. So usually I'm eating like anything.
Just whatever's put in front of you, Kushti.
I'm not very specific about that. And so that guy from Zcash, Zuko, right? So we had a lot of talks back in 2017 and so on. And so he's eating only meat, something like that.
Wait, just protein?
Keto, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you eat only meat and just a little bit of greenery.
I bet his breath smells amazing. Yeah, that's tough.
But he looks very young, actually.
You think it's working?
Hard to say. I mean, from just one human being, you cannot say anything, right?
Yeah.
Because it could be genes. So it's always hard to say from just one human being.
Well, because you're not allowed to change anything. Just keep your diet just like it is, because we don't want any brain chemistry changes in the Ergo platform. No drastic changes on your intakes there.
But yeah, I'm not following any paradigm here. Just think like everything around. So with this positive note. Maybe we can ask Joe next time what is he eating.
We'll see if he can wake up. Joe probably just eats he eats bear meat that his dogs kill. Probably that's it. That's all he eats. Just solid meat, and probably eats potatoes that he has down in the valley growing somewhere. So just bear meat and potatoes, maybe some elk.
Recently he had decaf coffee, which is
Oh, that's right.
Actually,
and we haven't heard from him since, Kushti. So maybe that's
maybe it's not working. But how it could work? I mean, if it's coffee but without caffeine, it's a bit strange. All right.
Oh yeah. All right. Oh, stay tuned. I just saw HQ and talking about meme coins. HQ and maybe Echo pump. They came up with some pump stuff, right?
Yeah. So HQ actually sent me a message. Tell QX to open the link I sent him. So open the link.
Oh boy, is this? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not porn. Oh, it's this pump thing. Here we go. Ready? I'll show it on screen. Ready? Hang on. Let me fix my back end here. We'll remove my face. We'll go here. Let's make it smaller so we can see it. It's called Mu Pump. So it's a token launch system similar to the other ones themed with the word pump. When's that out, HQ? You should, is it live? I guess it's live. Should we share this link live? Is he talking? No, he's not. So there it is, Mu Pump right there. It's something that he's come up with. 9 tokens have been test launched. It shows the Hall of Fame. Faku has the most holders now, 80. No, Pumperino has 107. Yeah, pretty cool. You can go to trading tokens, see what's up. Nice job. Nice job, sir. So hopefully he'll release that soon, and we can play around with it and have some fun. Super fun. All right. All right, Kushti. I got some yard work to do. It's about 2 hours of gardening.
All right.
Today.
A nice time. Keep in touch.
It's been good. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye, guys.